Fucking unbelievable, man. This is bullshit. Okay. Yeah, no, it's something to do with the fact that the audio, the stream dips. Fucking Streamlabs doesn't know how to deal with it, and it just kills the sound because the sound is here on my, like, I can see it. I can see it bouncing. It's there. So I just killed the stream, bring it back up, and apparently it's fine. So can I make this show me? Okay, so that's what it looks. This is that. She done. So this is what it looks like, how the software sees it, and then it maps it. Oh wow, it actually shows me the exact color. Interesting. And I can go in here. Oh, that looks cool. And map this to you map it together so that the colors look like that. I want to go in here. I want to try to do mid-tone enhance. No, yeah, mid-tone enhance too. You can play with the colors a little bit more. Do I even want white? I could probably go without the white. So is this, okay, so that's using bamboo yellow, which I do have. I also have Bambu Lab Basic Green, actually, because I have that sample roll. Main issue I'm running into with the minis is time. Running too thin on everything, so it's going to have to wait or be offloaded to somebody else. Gotcha. I don't know if I can help with that. I hope you find a good solution though. I'm excited to see where your project goes, man. I fucking love seeing that kind of shit. I love seeing projects from people being completed and having progress made. All right, the magnets fit now. Okay, this fits like this feels like they will fit. They just need to be pressed in, which is kind of what I was going for. Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Look at that. And the dice, the card game, the action TTRPG, the book. The other systems work, advertising, etc. I'm working 16 hours a day. Yeah, I see that. Okay, this is just the way I'm thinking and how I'm handling my own stuff, like, you know, working on these, because this is my main project, trying to make and sell these. I'm working on I'm basically just trying to make it so, hey, get it working. Like, this is, right here is kind of what I'm hoping for, right? Like, here, magnets that go, and then it stays on the thing. Obviously, right now, it's going to fall because these magnets are crap. I need to print another full tile with magnets. So I can see if the weight is good. Do I need new magnets? Like, how, because if they're not holding well, I'm going to need slightly larger magnets than these, which is fine. I just need to know if they'll work or not. This is such a different bed. Weird. I don't like that texture. I really don't. Do I go get the other one? I have the other bed. Fuck it. Let's do it. I'm a petty bitch. This will now be the backup bed. The bed may look the same, but it is in fact a different bed. Yeah, personally, I'm just, like, I like how, like, that, I don't know if that's going to be enough to hold that whole tile on. Could do a rotation snap. What do you mean exactly? Because this is meant to be a universal mount plate, because some of them are going to be mounted like this, and some of them are going to be mounted like this, just depending on the artwork. So they're set up so that it'll work regardless. Got a bunch of command strips that I bought today. That worked. I need to see if need to make sure that these hooks will actually stick. And I have it set. So, and this is actually meant for, I think well, I mean, okay, what you said actually made me think of something anyway. Like, I could have the part snap on and the magnet, like, basically attach somehow to the center, and then the magnets just make sure the rotation's good, which would be fine too. I could manage that. I don't know exactly how I'd do it, but I could pull it off, I'm sure. So yeah, the idea is this, right? Like, this is what mounts it. If you need to remove it, you can still pull the command hooks, but they're all completely hidden from anything that might attach on. The dovetail joints are there because I want an optional, basically like a light ring that you can put, that you'll fit over top of this, and then you put the tile on it and it'll illuminate the wall around the tile, which I think is pretty cool. That would be an optional add-on, probably sold separately. Except for maybe special, there might be special edition artwork, because this is all AI, but if, you know, someone wanted to have custom art put on these, it would totally be doable. rotation lock on 2 directions. You need to do some wonky stuff based on the direction you rotate. Look up how a Nerf barrel attaches. No, I get you. No, I got that. I had a Nerf long shot. I know what you mean. Where basically 2 rings that you sit back and when you rotate it, they kind of connect that way. That actually would be doable. It would increase the complexity of the back of the panel quite a bit, but it might be doable. That seems like, no, that seems like those are holding well. I was worried about that. I'm gonna be really honest. I was worried about the command hooks sticking to the PLA because I had issues with that in the past, but I think I was because I was using shitty commands like old command strips. Because fun fact, never when you're buying command strips, never buy the thin clear plastic ones. Do not buy those. Just don't. Maybe they've changed the formulation, but the ones that I have all gone bad after about a year. They just fucking they turn yellow and then they don't peel away right. They leave shit on the wall and they'll crack off. They just fall. Yeah, that's true. It would be stronger. It would, however, limit the ability to, because like I want these all to be like, oh, if somebody had an array of these on the wall, right? The idea is that you have the mounting system in place, and now like you buy a new set of panels or want to switch out the art, you just, and you could very easily like kind of push on the corner, it'll pop up, and you just pull that away. If it rotated, you'd have to basically, I don't know if you'd be able to put a grid of them on the wall together because of the corners they'd interfere. I don't know to what degree, but you certainly wouldn't be able to take the one in the middle out without pulling all of them off. And that's what I'm concerned about too. If the magnets work, the magnets are ideal because everyone loves a good magnet. Magnets are fun. Magnets are cool. They have to get bigger magnets. As long as they don't get too expensive, I'm okay with that. Because these are like $100 for like $6 for 100 of these, right? If I gotta pay $12 for 100, that's still fine. That's what, 12 cents a magnet? I can do that. That's reasonable. The price of the product will reflect it, obviously, but that's 12 cents more per panel is not that bad. Or I get because there's 6 per mount and then 6 per tile. On the Etsy listing, I'm basically gonna have them as individual like arts, like oh, here's the Spaceman one. And then I'm gonna have a custom one listed as well, where people can have me make art that they want, or submit art, and then a small magnetizer and make those minis insanely. That's possible. Might be able to fucking fix the ones that I fucked up, because like these work. But yeah, realistically, they might be strong enough. They might not. I could also add I could put it on the mount plate and have it. That could work. It wouldn't be that hard to have basically a lip built into the back of it, where so like the magnets are just kind of holding it there, but there's also a mechanical lip. It's not just magnets holding it on, because then it might sag and slide a little bit. I'll play around with that too. That would not be that hard to implement onto this ring. Just have like a little mechanical edge and then have an indent. Slide clip maybe. Basically what I'm thinking, so if I have... Oh, fucking shut up. I am connected to the internet. Yeah, it's working online. All right. So let's load this up. Dude, you are my rubber ducky right now, and this is great. You are my programming duck. So this is the base plate. This is the part that I put upside down on the print bed and just add the lithophane to. So if I just added to this, let's see, because I could I can get away with that. Not there. Shit. How do I... Yes, please. I use this a lot. So the measurement on the inside of this is 140. So we do 140. Tell it that that's horizontal, which fully defines the sketch. We do an offset of this at -10, which is, so yeah, that right there is the shadow of this, right? Now, if from this inner bit we do another offset of, I don't know, wait, give me this. It's already been offset. Okay, so we offset, if that's 10, then we do, I don't know, 3 millimeters, 13. Not negative, no, -13. So then from this, right, we go in, I don't know, -3. We'll just say, make a cut in. That's way too far in, because this is quite thin. How much room do we have to work with? Even just -1. A millimeter in. How thick are these? Okay, it is 3 millimeters. So in that case, we'll do 2. So right, I have this indent. So on the back of all of these tiles, there will be that indented ring. And then I just make the same ring on the inside of this, but more, but a little less. We say 1.5 or 1.8 probably. That's within spec for my printer. And then the magnets will hold it to the wall, and that mechanical edge will hold it in place. I'm gonna try that. That's what my next test is probably gonna be. All right, because like this is great, and I like the fact that that works. And I can very easily do this test. The bottom of the plate is a small rectangular slit hole about the width of the edge, about the depth of half of one of the edges. A mount would go behind them over the top of the previous plate. Small rectangular slit hole about the width of one edge and about the depth of half of one of the edges. The mount would go behind them. I think I'd need to see an example of that. I don't know exactly. I don't know if I can visualize what I'm seeing. I will say part of the reason that it's designed the way that it is, yeah, sure, is so that I can, any art that's like vertically oriented can go like this, and then I can just rotate it and it'll work both ways. I only want to have one design and then one design over here, because then it's just a universal thing that will just work, you know, because obviously I can't do a good test with these because these magnets are shot. These are not, like, I can't even, what's something fucking magnetic? Yeah, like a fucking binder clip. Like this, like for an example, this is a magnet that works, right? The binder clip sticks to it. I dropped it. That's not a good example. Oh, a bottle cap, that'll do. Like, it sticks, right? Like a magnet does. These magnets are shot as fuck. If I do this, they fall. They're done. The magnets are done. They're gone. Because I pressed them in with a soldering iron, and that was enough heat to fucking murder them. But this design, this is interesting. I can try this. It's gonna make this a little bit beefier, but it doesn't have to. I'm cooking. Hold on. Okay, so that's 2 millimeters. I'd make the in 1.8 again. So yeah, it's 3 wide. Did I do? Measure between those. Yeah, it's 3. Okay, so if I come into here, create a sketch, project that, offset this by 3, but we're not going to do 3. We're going to do 2.7. And then extrude this symmetric by 1.8 millimeters. And no, I want to sweep. Yes, this around. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, like a dovetail. I mean, I've literally done that. So I have a monitor mounted to the wall in the other room that is literally held on exactly like that. It's a VESA mount that attaches to the back of the monitor with a dovetail, and then the other part of the dovetail sits on the wall, and it just slides on. That would work. Part of the reason that would be a slight pain is because of the way these have to be printed. It has to be printed flat, and dovetails, and that the print, like, it has to be printed this way. This is the only orientation I can print that, and putting a dovetail on the bottom isn't great. It's not ideal. It could work, but it would make the whole thing a lot thicker, and I kind of want these to be really thin and lean, which is kind of why I went with the magnets. Also, magnets are cool. If this little clip-in system works, this is what I'm gonna go with. Can I chamfer this and have it work? Or is this gonna scream at me? Yeah, it's gonna scream at me. I mean, that looks fine. The cutting into it part still, because it's such a thin, like, there's 3 millimeters to work with, and that's not a lot of room. And because, you know, the base plate of the lithophane is 3 millimeters. I suppose I should try to thin up the actual lithophane by giving it less of a backing. I could probably do that, because that would also save me a lot of time. Like one layer of the lithophane part takes, like, I don't know, it takes a couple hours, or not a couple hours. It takes like 45 minutes. I also need to make up a reverse cut part to clean up these edges, because it's pretty broad. Because I don't know if you could tell, but on the edges of this, like, it's not clean. You can kind of see where the one part sits on the other. And if I basically just made a hexagon that just is basically a ridge and had it be a negative part, it would slice that off with the slicer. I'm going to try this first, because I think this has a lot of potential to just give some more mechanical hold down while the magnets keep it held there. It would still do all the nice, like, just clean, easy pops-ons and offs that I want. I think that would be good. So I'm going to send this to the printer. Save as mesh. Okay. Hold ring. Okay, bring it into Bamboo. And that shouldn't really change the print time by much at all. That's still nice and sleek. Hour, 4 minutes. And I also have these designed to be this size specifically so that I can fit, it's not gonna like it, but if I really cram them in, I can print 3 at once. That's literally why they are sized the way that they are, so that I can fit 3. And that's fine. Like 3 will fit at once. Yeah, like I said, like I think the only thing that would have a problem with is that, like, yeah, if you have the one above it, you'd still have to take them off top to bottom, which I know realistically in a product design for what I'm trying to do, like, most people are gonna get it, put it on the wall, it's never gonna fucking move. But design feature 1, magnets are cool. Design feature 2, really slim, super simple design. Like, part of it was just like, hey, you can if you already have a set of these mounted on your wall, you can just buy a new set of tiles if you want, like, oh, seasonal decor, or you want to change the look in the room. You can very easily just pop them off, stack them together because they're nice and skinny. You know, you just put these in a box, and they store, like, these would store so easily on a bookshelf. You just pick the ones you want. Like, if you had multi-tile ones like these, or even individual ones, you could have 3 separate ones that went up. Or, like I said, like, is that art that you sent me back when? Where is it? Yeah, when we were printing this. Like, this could be split into a 7-part of these wall tiles and have each of the class emblems basically printed on a tile and have them mounted. Could do it. Wouldn't be that hard. All right, so let's see. So that takes 2 hours, 59 minutes for 3, but we only need the 1. Send it. We're sending it to Telesto, and we're printing with that. Send it. I love having 2 printers. It's pretty great. Well, okay, there are 5 printers in the house right now. So, there's that. Yeah, I have a whole monitor mounted with that dovetail style design that you linked, or that you drew there. That's a design that works. It works very well. I just don't know how well it will work with this particular application because of how thin these are. Now I need to get some cool artwork to use for this test. So, oh, I already had Creative Cloud open. Yes, and then we were fucking around with it. And then it's still going, or oh, it wasn't going. Adobe, you make me sad. I mean, okay, Adobe, I'm gonna be really honest here. It is competing with this, and it gave me that. Which one wins? Oh, I wonder. these are okay. This is great. Like the Adobe Firefly is like a solid amount behind the other AI art systems. They're doing things that are unique, which is good. Do they have anything fancy? Yeah, like the text effects are really cool. I like those. Those are very neat. Oh, they have... Do they do text to vector already? Yo, generative recolor. Generate color variations of your vector artwork from a detailed text description. That's really cool. See, this is still not great. I don't know what it's doing around her eye. Like this, the lighting looks more natural in this one. These are both fine. In fact, I'm looking at the background of this one and I don't know what the hell's going on back there. Food? Well, that's art. Those are two entirely different styles, you chungus. Sci-fi? Alright, hold on. You know what? Let's just, you know what? We ask Midjourney. We go and we ask Midjourney. I'm just gonna give it Cyber Falcon. Because, like, look at the fucking detail on the... Like, this is okay, but this is just piss. Like, the rounded, sloppy edges is just how old AI works. Go to Midjourney. Cyber Falcon. Send it. That's all we give it. We just give it Cyber Falcon. I'm in slow mode. No. I'm in slow mode because I ran out of time. I bought an hour for $4. And I was trying to make that last. So I was in slow mode. Alright, if it was trying to compete with Midjourney, it loses. It loses outright. Like, these are cool. Like, this one's even in the same style as fucking Fireflies. It's like you and the girl and the guy she says not to worry about. Like, this has, like, lighting and shine, and the feathers are still in there and fluffy, and there's a reflection on the eye and, like, the glint off the beak, and the symmetric glow down the center line here. Well, this is just, like, I can't quite tell where anything is. It's a profile shot, like, there's no real definition to anything. This is just ass. Like, this is, like, This is like V4 beta. This is like Midjourney V4 beta is what this looks like. This looks like late V4, maybe. Whereas this is V6 Midjourney, and it's fucking incredible. Like, look at that. Look at the legs. Like, it clearly understands this creature and where the center line is and the symmetry. It's got a fucking crazy background. I like that these work the way that I want them to. This is making me a happy boy. This is making me a happy boy. I haven't tested to see if RGB strips fit on this yet. I could make this a little thicker if I have to. Wouldn't be hard. Where's my Ergoblitz? Alright, so if we doing white LEDs and just white LEDs, it's fine. I want to add 2mm though, if I want to do RGB, because like these fit along here. The white strips that I have fit just fine, but the RGB strips are 10mm wide. I probably could have just Googled that before I designed these, but whatever. I've never been one for thinking things through. So it wouldn't be hard either. Just take this side, just pull it 2mm up. It's easy. Wouldn't add really any more thickness, and it would give me the clearance to do things. 1mm top bottom, that's enough to constrain LEDs. Because I would have them be like a module that is like a completed thing that the end user could just slot on, run a plug between each section that they want lighting, and then have a home core, which like this is where like the USB cable goes in, and that's what lights everything. Because it would be USB powered. Because fuck it, we live in the future. Everything can be USB powered. Fucking love 3D printers. They're so fun. They're so cool. You have been great just even being here and making me think of ideas. All these, like this little lip features, I would not have come up with that. Photoshop. Does this need updates? I suppose I don't even need to use the beta anymore. Manage updates. Oh, yeah, there we go. Update all. Update Photoshop. Oh, that's unfortunate. Dude, okay, I have noticed that. So there is r/mildly interesting, r/mildly infuriating, and r/well that sucks. All three of them are mostly the same things, except with different mindsets. Like this person, my shower exploded, and it's just like their door, their glass door exploded, and it's just like, huh, interesting, as opposed to being fucking infuriated. Photoshop. We may have another internet issue. Oh my god. Did it do it again? Or was I just sitting there? I see that the fucking thing is stopped. Oh, that's because it was stopped. Did it blip? Are we fine? Is it stupid? Or is it working? As it literally, like, you can see the audio is here. There is audio. The audio exists. Hold on, this is...
Were the sound of the door powering up?
You hear
So
that?
I assume this isn't intended. Freddy is actually guarding us. Okay, so...
I don't... Hey, get drop frames detected. Yeah, it's because my internet's a fucking...
What now? Where do I go?
Oh, it's good now? Okay.
Where do I go?
Unless it was... the weird thing is that I don't know why that... Because I don't close Streamlabs to fix it. I just ended the stream before and brought it back up. So I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Fucking who knows? Who goddamn knows? No clue. Oh well, we move forward to the art department. And by that I mean Midjourney because I'm not an artist. What do we do here? Let's go. You know what? Fuck it. No, we do what we did with Spyro. That's what I did before. Okay, so this is how I did this. Over here, with all these images, basically, like, so these are the Spyro from the first game, the first Spyro. These are the skyboxes. I basically took these, told Midjourney to describe them, and then had it reimagine those images. Because so for this one, right? The moon and moon rising over the green mountains in the style of speed painting, sky blue and cyan, soft, romantic scenes, calming. And then that gave this when it went back through the system. And that's how I did with all of these, and they all gave pretty incredible results. I'm gonna be honest, like this is just straight up gorgeous up here. And then with this green one gave some also very cool results. These are all very vibrant and awesome. This is like some kind of liminal space shit. Ooh, 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 ooh. That makes me think. Hold on. What is this going to give me? What will it give me for liminal spaces? Come on, I'm in fast mode, you bitch. I need some art for the machine before I go to bed. I can print Well, I can kind of print too because you don't have the same color capacity. I need another AMS for them to both have that level of color capacity. That boy's got 2 AMSs. This boy's got 1 AMS. And an AMS is $400. So. Oh, that's cool. What if I do the same with Niji? What if I do the same with I typically like Niji because it just gives me cleaner edges. Like, and just less shading, which is good for HueForge. How's my updates going? Good. Good. Yeah, Niji likes to put people into, which is good and bad. Yo, what the shit? Okay, that's cool. This is also... Okay, that's pretty gorgeous. Give me that. Oh, yo, give me these. Okay, first of all, this is gorgeous. Her face is a little goofy. I'd probably do a variation on this. Also, it's not super well defined because there's so much detail. I could probably redo it with quality too. This is what this is like, you can see that like not everything is defined well, and that doesn't turn out super well. This is cool though. This is a super cool effect. This is also wild. Liminal Spaces, Watering Glass, AR-34, Niji 6. And that would give me a cool opportunity to use some of my teals and stuff. Teals and blues. I got new blues that I could really calibrate. Which, you know what? I could be using Triton to do HueForge calibrations right now. Which would be smart, because I do need to do HueForge calibrations right now. Where's my other roll of matte black? Elegoo. Okay, this is my favorite sound. Let's see if the mic will pick it up. Not a very strong vacuum on that one. Unfortunate. I love the sound of just opening a fresh roll of filament. As I've done it probably 200 times now. Yeah, black and a light blue from Elegoo. We have Elegoo Matte PLA, which isn't that matte, but it'll do. And then, oh, is this one? Oh yeah, they are both glued. So Elegoo's been doing this lately. The edges of their spools are glued. They have a line of glue on them. Specifically because a lot of bamboo printers say, at least the X1 and the which is, honestly, this printer does have a huge market share. the X1 and the P1 and their AMSs do not like cardboard spools because it has issues retracting, supposedly. I have not experienced this issue, but others have. So Bamboo recommends against using plastic spools. Because of that, I guess a lot of manufacturers are starting to put... You check one more thing. Yeah, dude, what do you need? Because of that, Elegoo and some other manufacturers have been putting glue on the edges of their spools so as to ensure that they will always track well and will work. We put the black back in. And this fresh ass Elegoo blue. Oh, his plastic's wound weird. Alright. Sent you a zip of dice. Can you check these? Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. I bonked my head on the microphone. Bring up. Also, wait, I want to look at these. That's really pretty. That's okay. This would probably be very cool. Yo, that's cool as shit, too. That's dope. Okay, this would probably end up looking really cool printed out. And I might do this because this is like just like this look of like the water. Again, I gave it liminal spaces, water, and glass, and it gave me this. And this is pretty fucking pretty. What do you got, Firefly? Can you do anything halfway decent? Come at me, bro. Liminal spaces, water, and glass. What do you got, Adobe Firefly? Can you even make up halfway decent shit? That's just okay. I mean, it's got the right. Nah. I mean, Midjourney obviously still wins, but I mean, did it do the thing? Digital art, go. No. It really wants to do a glass of water as opposed to water and glass. So Midjourney, a fourth dimensional infinity edge pool. 4D infinity edge pool? You got it. Too normal, too Niji. Because I got a feeling this will be pretty cool. Alright, hold on. You sent me a zips. Continue to download. Because it's like, bro, you're downloading shit? You sure you trust this? You sure you trust this random dingus on the internet? It's like, yeah, sure, good enough. Shwoop. No. So for supportless, on an FDM printer, you're not going to pull these off because of this extra beveled edge. Like, it would cause... So here, I'll slice them just so you can see. It's obviously going to goof... Oh, hold on. Turn off support. So, because layer 1 is going to look like this, right? And then it would have to build... And then it could pull that off, maybe, if it didn't have the number in it. But this is going to be printing in the sky. And it's not going to be able to do that. That bridging, it would pull off. It would look a little jank on that surface, but it would pull it off. But because of the hole in it, it's just going to try. It's basically going to have to try to stop in midair and come back, and it won't be able to pull that off. I'm trying to think if there's an easy way to make them printable, but I don't think on an FDM printer. Resin printer, sure. Yeah, you can pull these off on a resin printer, no problem. Resin printers have very, very different limitations. And then they'd also be solid and thus a lot less, a lot more fair because they'd be a solid thing. So yeah, supportless, these would not work. With supports, sure, they might be a little goofy, but they'd work. Yeah, you'd have to, yeah, lay that one down, lay that one down, lay that one down, lay you down, and then you go turn on supports, turn off the fucking stupid ass 3D hexagon, and go back to gyroid like a proper God-fearing individual. Slice them bitches. Yeah, because you would need that support line. You can see how it's holding up that layer to ensure that it works better. For even better, there's shit like this. Hold on, let me go grab some. I got a couple partial spools of this stuff. This is PLA support material. It is specifically designed to stick to PLA, but peel away when you want to. So you use this as the support interface, or that green layer. The dark green, rather. The dark green is then printed in this, and it means that it should peel away better. And it also would then decrease the distance between the printed surface and the support, because it can basically print right on top. If you really wanted to print anything on an FDM printer, you use something that I also have, that's in the other room, called PVA. That is a dissolvable support material. It is the exact same material that Tide Pods are made out of, and it dissolves in water. So you print those with that being your support material, mushed right up against the print. You print straight on top of it, and then you just throw it in the sink, and it dissolves away. It adds a lot of complexity, and that filament is expensive. A 1 kilogram roll was $60 as opposed to $20. And this stuff is, I think, 30-ish for a kilogram. Dissolvable support is pretty cool, though. It is printable on my printers, but it's not ideal because it's expensive and it has to purge a lot of it to do it. Apparently, this stuff is some blend of PLA and TPU, which it's kind of flexible, but not super flexible. So I could see that. I could see that. Anyway, let's see what Midjourney says. Oh no, I've shown your excellent art skills. It made me horribly sad. Okay. Here's the... Oh, fuck. That's cool. Ew, these are cool. I like this one. This one's really pretty. This one's like some kind of inverted looking. I want to see that bigger. And this is the non-Niji. This is like the photorealism. That's a cool looking house. I have legitimately designed houses in Minecraft through Midjourney by just like telling it make me a Minecraft house, and then it did. Like modern Minecraft house. Like this is cool. This is very cool. I want to extend this up. So why did it make you horribly sad is what I want to know. Look at that. Modern Minecraft house. And then you have a Minecraft house. It wouldn't dissolve, and then once it did, it created goop that clogged the sink. Yeah. Yeah, that's all entirely correct and reasonable. That's what people say to do it. You want a tub of hot water. And so you get the water nice and hot, and you leave it sit, usually overnight. It's not a quick process. It takes several hours to fully dissolve. It will fully dissolve in water, though. It just needs time and heat, which is why it works in a laundry machine, because it's always hot. Minecraft house. This is actually a lovely Minecraft house. This is a lovely Minecraft house. What the fuck? This is a nice Minecraft house. Midjourney makes better Minecraft houses than most Minecrafters do. Like, these are great. What the fuck? This one's cool. I love this. If I could build this, this is like a complex, like this is a lovely looking place. Obviously, this is not functional realistically, but like I love the vibe of this, or if it's like set into a hill and kind of built as part of it. Don't use your city school sink, which can only do cold water. To get off dissolvable supports that you need finished and presentable within 3 hours for a school final. Yeah, I imagine you guys probably had some Stratasys machine. Fuck Stratasys. They make good printers, but they're the reasons that we didn't have printers until like, 2000 and like, I don't know, 11 and 12 is when they started being a thing. They're the reason we didn't have them until then. Because they basically invented 3D printing and then patented everything in like the early 80s. And then the patents wore out. And then China went, yes! We can do this! And then, yeah, the RepRap project started up. Oh, boy. I think I want to use this image because that's a lot of lovely blues. All right, so we will upscale this. And given that it's going to be a single tile, I won't need to upscale this again. An Ultimaker. Okay. Oh, it probably does, yeah. It's just user error, but also user error that you couldn't really do anything about, and or someone should have told you about. Because why would you know? Like, why? Why would you know that? Why would you know that it takes a long time to dissolve and that it should have hot water? Someone should have told ya. I'm running out of fucking magnets. This is gonna be pretty. Okay. My experience was very specific where I needed it dissolved quick in cold water using sinks that are motion activated. Oh, no, and those too. Oh, God. Yeah, you were just kind of boned from the start, weren't you? And knowing, okay, and it's probably those sinks that spray out like 8 high pressure jets of water and spray everywhere in the process. Probably those, because that's always the. For some reason, people are like, oh man, what kind of sinks should we sell? Ones that make a fucking huge mess whenever you touch them. Fucking cut print. It's like, what kind of insane psychopath? I'm sorry. Sinks put out like no pressure. Oh, so like the drippy ones? Yeah. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I don't. You don't need to know why the convo in this Reddit thread went here, but people are making fun of house hunters. It's like he's a stay-at-home astronaut and she weaves art from pubic hair. Their budget is $2 million. Then the comments go off from there. He collects postage stamps and she makes ponchos out of recycled plastic bags. Their budget is $4.3 million. She's a part-time kindergarten substitute teacher. He raises bespoke hamsters. Their budget is $10 million. He's got a part-time rap artist. He's a part-time rap artist at a local church. She's got a small business selling miniature horse figurines at the local farmers market on Thursday evenings. Their budget is $4 million. Oh my god, that's funny. What, you time went for a cycle? It put out maybe a fifth a couple. Yeah, dude. They're like, what is the minimum possible amount to actually rinse water? And then that's what they like scientifically calculate it. It was like, is it a joyous experience? No. All right, Photoshop, come to my hand. No, I want actual Photoshop. Thank y'all. I don't need to use the Photoshop beta because I was using the Photoshop beta before because it's the only one that had the generative fill, which is cool. I've used it for backgrounds and Etsy photos.
Hi, I'm Anna McNaught.
How
Let me show you how to go from
dare
this
you.
starting image to this final result in just a few steps.
I understand
started.
how to do this Photoshop. I end up taking a ton of paper towels, dry with drench and water fountain, and stick it in a microwave. There you go. Modern problems require modern solutions. Try later. I understand the power of generative fill. I have used it. No. 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 Necessity is in fact the mother of invention. It's like, shit, I need a thing. Well, time to make a thing. It's either necessity or profit, but one usually follows the other. Because if you needed it, someone else probably needed it, and then someone else probably wants it from you, and you can sell that. Or somebody owns your life and can make you, it's like, well, looking at you, Edison. It's like, I invented the light bulb. No, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. All you did was electrocute animals with DC voltage. Fuck you, Edison. Piece of shit. It's like, oh, Nikola Tesla's a bad man. Look at this AC. It's so dangerous. It's like, bitch, high voltage DC is so deadly. It's so hilariously dangerous. Probably the best video on the internet. Oh boy, hold on. We are in that phase, aren't we? The best lemon. Oh, it's Jello Apocalypse. Hold on, I gotta put my headphones back in so I can hear this. The best lemonades. The best. But is it though? But is it though?
It's really strawberry. It's not for me, but I'm gonna give it a 4. All right, Country Acres lemonade, normal flavor.
Normal.
So many of these have that plasticky spit in your mouth nose on them. Oh, I know what this tastes like. Have you ever been in a squirt gun fight and you're like, I'm thirsty, and you take one and put your mouth around the nozzle and go exactly what this tastes like. Oh, low 2. Why do they all taste like spit to you? Because they do, okay? Raspberry. You know, I trust strawberry more. I'm gonna try that first. Okay, this one actually smells good. Significantly better, still a little plasticky. Don't know if I'd call it strawberry. It's very acidic. This is a lot better. I'll give it a 4. It's good. Wow, it's way better than the original. God, this is plasticky. You know what? No, I'm gonna knock it back down to a 3. I can feel this on my teeth. This is really bad for you. What's the acid? 22% juice. Ooh, no wonder. That's a lot.
Oh, because you were watching it, you dingus.
This is like drinking a candle.
Also, what the fuck? What is this camera? This is at max resolution, and this looks like dick.
That smells like blood. What natural flavors did you put in there? Cayenne? Cream of tartar. Oh, it's so complex.
So I've learned, I always copy it like this. Because you can copy this and then just backspace out the T equals. And then, like, if you just do this.
So many of these.
It still did it. So yeah, you just do that. It still did it. All right.
This is like drinking a candle. That smells like blood. What? Me at the start of the stream. I love lemonade. Me at the end of this stream. I think I hate lemonade. I figured out what these taste like. When you get a colonoscopy. Hello and welcome to Lemonade Stream. I like lemonade. I bought all the lemonade I could find. I want to know what the best lemonade is. Let's start. Let's see what we've got. So first up, we've got Simply lemonades. And these are the ones I'm familiar with, so I'm kind of blowing past them. This is limeade, 4 out of 5. Strawberry, that's another 4. Also, I've got a bowl of green apples here as a palate cleanser. There's nothing gets rid of sour taste like a sour apple. Blueberry, wow. That's really, really good. 5. This is the best one. It's like frolicking through a blueberry mist with a lemon jacket on. This is Simply lemonade, normal flavor. Little boring, little Minute Matey, could be better. 3. Next up, Santa Cruz Organic. Huh. Something about this tastes old. This tastes like when you bite into an apple and like a little bit of it, you can tell it's not even like bruised, but it's like a little old, you know? Like there's just old in this drink. This literal old apple that I'm eating tastes less old fruit than this does. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna knock this down to a 2. Something's not good about it. Let's try the strawberry. Way better. Way better immediately. This drink smells nice. This is a 4. That's way better than the basic lemonade. Santa Cruz Blueberry. What the fuck? This tastes like eating a leaf that a ladybug just crawled over. It's really acrid. Did this expire? Oh man, we gotta use these fruits somewhere else. Can I use the leaves? And they're like, sure. And they plucked all the leaves off of the blueberry. And they're like, technically this is blueberry juice. Blech. Maybe I should knock that down to a 1. I was giving it the benefit of the doubt for being interesting, but interesting does not mean good. These 7 are all from Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's organic lemonade. Yep, that's the Trader Joe's lemonade, I remember. I'd say a 4 on that. If those last lemonades I was drinking were like 20-somethings and 30-something yuppies, this one's an old man. He's like 60. It's a little bitter, kind of mellow. It's good though. It's probably a little too sugary for 58. Yeah, oh my God. For how mellow and small that flavor is, I think a 58's a little egregious. Yeah, this is just this, but a lot more water in it. It's a lot brighter, it's a lot easier to drink. I would say, including health, I think this is pretty much objectively better than this. They're both good though. I would be happy if you served both of these to me, so I'm gonna say 4 for both of them. This is unpasteurized Trader Joe limeade. Nope. 2, that's lime juice. That's lime juice with no twist. This needs more sugar. And I bet it already has a ton of sugar in it. This has 54% added sugars, and it still needs more sugar. This is organic jalapeno limeade. Thoroughly boring. So you think it would be a lot of flavor? It's like a dusting of lime and then like the smallest tickle of heat and it's gone. This could probably be an okay mixer, but other than that, I don't really like it. Trader Joe's pink lemonade. Oh, this is low calorie pink lemonade. Okay. That is so mild. That's barely anything. That's like homeopathic lemonade. There was lemonade in there once. 2. I don't think there's a reason to get this one.
Yeah, see, that's
is it, like,
fine.
healthier?
There's nothing wrong with doing
Trader
that.
Joe's organic strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, you chat with your bed, you got on the TV or some
and put it in
shit.
his drink. Props. This really tastes like strawberry puree. I'll give it a 3. It's not bad. It's fine. It's a drink. Sparkling lemonade. Didn't get a lot of sparkling stuff because a lot of them are water. There is lemon juice in here though. That's pretty good. If I'm a shitty waspy woman at a baby shower, but I'm driving home, this is what I'm gonna drink. I hate how much I like this. 4, it's not exceptional. It's just bubble water with a little more acid in it, but like, I like bubble water and I like acid. Calypso. This is not
Calypsos
even
are pretty
close
good.
to every Calypso flavor, but it is all the ones I've ever seen in a store. All right, how about we go in rainbow order with these guys? There, we got this whole array. I really like them because they look like video game potions. You know, like tropical Skittles and tropical Starburst? It's like that if they didn't suck. Paradise Punch Lemonade. We've got our winners of the added sugars contest. This is 110 so far with 6% juice. So this is 99% sugar. And boy, do these taste like it. Oh my God. All those other ones were like little kids like at a lemonade stand, just like, here, mister, we had lemonade, we would put lemon juice and sugar in it, and it's pretty good. And then down the street, there's fucking Daryl coming out of a meth lab, like, I melted down a bucket of Jolly Ranchers. This is fruit punch, and the word punch is italicized. That's a lot. Oh God, it even tastes like I just ate candy. Like I can feel the sugar on my teeth. 4. This is strawberry lemonade. This is the light variety. Added sugars, 0.
Dude.
Added sugars,
You
0?
know what's fun for controlling
Really?
the PC?
What's in there, you little bitch?
I legitimately
Sucralose. Yeah, this is terrible for you too, but for different reasons. To me, Calypso tastes like a public pool in like the best way. Like you go to the snack bar and they've got like big stupid ice cream pops, candy, sugar syrup they put in drinks. This tastes a little bit like a pink Starburst. Man, these are really good. God, honestly, 5. These are fucking delicious. I feel like if I want to keep
I hope I
drinking
put
it,
that back
like,
in the
isn't
case,
that,
otherwise
is
it's
that
fucking
not what a
gone.
5 should be?
Or
This
it's
is
on my desk up
Southern
here
Peach
somewhere.
lemonade. I had one of these the other day.
But Steam controller is legitimately
That
great
tastes
for just like
a kiss
mousing
on
around
the
your
cheek.
computer. It's
That's
fucking
just
great.
peach and sugar.
Actually,
That's
a
just
lot of fun.
marmalade being smeared on your face. I'm gonna give that a 4. This is lemonade. This is normal ass lemonade. All my favorite lemonades are the ones that aren't just lemonade. But maybe this lemonade with 106% of my daily sugar will be able to convince me otherwise. I don't know where all that sugar's going. It's not doing much work. After these three, this tastes like nothing. This is so boring. On its own, like a 3. Because it's so unhealthy, 2. If you're at a store and you see Calypso, why the fuck would you get the normal lemonade? Every other one of these has been better so far. This is Calypso Light, still just lemonade, but this is a lot better for you. That's better. This literally tastes better than that one. It kind of tastes like just taking those fake sugar packets from like a restaurant dining table and pouring it into a drink with some lemon juice, but like, it's fine. Give it a 3. Island Wave Lemonade. I love this color. It's so much. This is like drinking a candle. After this piddly regular light lemonade, drinking this is like mainlining a scented candle. Oh, this stays in your mouth. Oh, this stays in your mouth. I don't know if I'd even need to take another sip. You know, this is so much.
Okay, have you ever seen
This episode sponsored by Brilliant.
the True
Learn to
Facts
think.
videos?
This right here, what looks
Oh,
like a
great.
grape with a sinus infection, is actually a baby elephant, just about ready to, well, be dropped from 5 feet. And start things off with a bang to the head. It's an exciting event for everyone. The
good
whole
start.
herd gathers around and celebrates. It's quite cute and loud, but they should celebrate. That baby's been up in there for almost 2 years, so when it comes out, it's fairly well baked. It takes a minute or two to get used to its new surroundings. I mean, he's not in Kansas anymore. You know, if Kansas were a mucus-filled placental sac inside the uterus of an elephant. But in no time at all, this baby is standing up on its own. First things first, it's guided to the nipples. We should all be so lucky. And there they are. Could benefit from a dab of lotion by the looks of it. For the next 3 to 4 years, the baby will nurse in its mother's care, supported by the other
It's the
females in
boy.
the herd. Sometimes it takes a village. These elephant babies can sometimes be a
Educational
handful.
video.
Look at this one. It's throwing an all-out tantrum. Probably just passed by a Chuck E. Cheese. That demon robotic mouse that calls to children. But it's a good thing that there's some time for the baby to learn how to elephant. You gotta get your
Oh,
feet
hi,
right.
Chelsea.
But there's more subtle things
I
like
didn't
caring
realize
for your
that was
skin.
you and not-
Elephants have quite
Holy
the
shit,
beauty
how is
regimen.
it doing?
Luckily, they use foundation and powders that are quite cheap and readily available. Throw a bit
You
of
have the
dirt
same
on the
color. I
back,
didn't- I
maybe a
wasn't-
mud
I
bath.
wasn't
It's
paying
worth
attention
it
to the
because
same
listen, this
badge.
is no ordinary skin. Now, up close, it doesn't seem like their routine is addressing the wrinkles. But in this case, the wrinkling is on purpose. Elephant skin doesn't just have
Hi, Chelsea.
wrinkles. There's wrinkles on the wrinkles. And the closer you look, the more you find. Unlike our skin, which flakes off when it dies, elephant skin sticks around and forms thicker and thicker layers as they age. And this wrinkled mess can do some magic tricks. Look at that. It's amazing. It's like a giant elephant-shaped sponge. And having skin that can hold on to water like that is very important. Elephants can get hot, very hot. They have the highest ratio of volume to surface area of any land animal. Too much body and not enough skin surface to cool off. They don't have sweat glands except for a couple between their toes. Those aren't going to do shit, so they have some other tricks. For one, they have these little hairs all over their body, not like a luxurious mane. More like the smattering follicular landscape of a testicle. One question, though, is why do they have hair at all? Doesn't hair make you warmer? Now, you might think that it's just evolutionary leftovers, sort of a slowly balding woolly mammoth. But it turns out that when hair density drops below a certain threshold, having hair switches from something that
Wait,
keeps
you
you
got the
warm to
Phasmo
something that
shirt
helps you
from,
cool off.
GDQ?
And it appears that that's what's happening. The hairs themselves help get rid of heat. Their giant ears also act as heat exchangers. Waving them around cools down the blood that runs through them. I know what you're thinking, Naughty Bits. Those veins there remind me of the veins in a human testicle, which also shed heat to keep sperm from overheating. Elephant testicles are inside the body, in basically the hottest place.
Fuck
There's
yeah.
something called the hot testicle hypothesis. It's a good band name. It says that elephants might not
I
get
fucking
cancer
love the
because
prank.
they've evolved extra proteins that are constantly protecting and repairing heat-damaged sperm. Anyway, I digress. Wait, is this one flipping us off? Oh, we're totally getting flipped off by an elephant trunk right about now. But let me tell you, those trunks are quite something. Segway. You know, in the womb, they actually have an upper lip that's separate from their nose, but those fuse together to form the trunk. Here, try pushing your upper lip forward while flaring your nostrils. Hold that, right? Well, nothing to do with an elephant, but you look like an idiot. The trunk is made up of connective tissue, a tiny bit of fat, and tens of thousands of muscles that go the long way, the short way, and roundsy-bouncy. Much like the tongue, the trunk contains no bones and no cartilage, but by coordinating those muscles, it can do all sorts of things. It's quite strong, especially nearer up to the top. You can see one working out here. Must be a warm-up set because they can lift up to 700 pounds, which is the equivalent of 700 one-pound weights, for those of you who are into the gym things. The trunk is also quite stretchy. The skin and connective tissue on the top surface of the trunk is stretchier than the bottom, while the bottom is stiffer, stronger, and more grabby-grabby. The trunk is lined with special sensory hairs called vibrissae. On the bottom of the trunk, they form rows on either side. The science hippies think that this helps them balance things in the curl of their trunk, like this watermelon. But the tip has the most hairs and is the most sensitive, as tips are wont to be. Depending on the species, the trunk ends in one or two things that basically act like fingers. And I'm sure that science hippies are tempted to fake this research with hand puppets. The combination of a flexible trunk and these fingerlings means that they can pick things up in all sorts of ways, depending on their shape and how big they are. And those finger parts are capable of some very fine movements. Look at this one peeling a banana. Not exactly how I do it. It gets the job done. And look at this one, delicately picking up a tortilla without breaking it. Now the trunk isn't a hollow tube. Those two nostrils run down the length of it. And that means it can get sucky, which provides yet another option for picking things up. But can also function a bit like a straw. Not an all-the-way straw, though. It is a nose, after all. And you know what it feels like to get a nose full of water all the way back. So when it sucks, it doesn't suck all the way. It holds whatever is sucked, and then it can squirt it back out into an appropriate orifice, or wherever the it wants, really. I know you like to learn. You're here learning about elephants, aren't you? Well, Brilliant.org is an amazing crap a sensible person might rake up and throw in the green bin for pickup. Now, if you've tried, you'd know that it's not all that easy to eat those things. Imagine if the toothpick was the appetizer. But they have some good equipment. African elephants and male Asian elephants have tusks, which are their incisors. Female Asian elephants will often have little tiny incisors sticking out, called tushes. It's called a tush. Tusks and tushes don't help with the chewing, but they can scrape some bark off now and then. The business end of the mouth is in the back. Elephants have some big-ass molars back there, about the size of a brick. This is one, even though it looks like several. They chew all that woody crap front to back, not side to side like we do. And those teeth wear down. Luckily, they have 6 sets throughout their lifetime. When a new molar comes in, it doesn't come from below, it comes from behind. The old worn-down tooth is pushed forward, and then it breaks off in segments while the roots are reabsorbed. Once the last set of teeth comes in, that's it. Those eventually wear down.
Dude, like
if the elephant lives long enough, it'll die.
These videos are fantastic.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, they chew everything up into a pulp, and then that pulp gets fermented inside of their body. That creates gas. Told you. But the whole process only extracts about 20% of what went in the other side. The resulting dung still has some nutritional value. It's a predigested morsel for whoever wants another go at it. And many do, including other elephants, ones that don't have the patience to wait for it to drop. So they get after it, so to speak. I mean, we blurred it, but imagine a snake trying to escape into an elephant's butt, Jerry. You only did half the analogy. That doesn't help. The snake has to go into something different, like no, not a different animal's butt, Jerry. You're really not getting it. Butt trunks are also used to communicate. They can be noisy little bastards and make all sorts of sounds. There's the classic trumpeting sound, which sounds a bit more like a lion trapped in a tuba. They can drop that down low, and it sounds like a giant horse that's not impressed. By pinching the front end together, they can go up high. Sounds like demons. Likely because they're making 2 pitches at once, one from each nostril. And if they pinch it real hard, it can sound like the squeak fart of a birthday balloon. Now, if they squeeze further back and inflate the trunk near the head, they can make a sound like a coffee machine that just ran out of water. There's this sound, which is very impolite. We won't speak of it again. Sometimes they push air into the sinus cavities in front of their face and make these strange inside throbbing sounds. And at least one elephant has figured out that if it modifies the shape of its mouth while making sounds with its trunk, it can mimic the vowel sounds of human words. This one's saying chowa, or good in Korean. Not bad, is it? Now, all of this is well and good if you live in groups like females do. But if you're a male, you might be alone and miles away from other elephants. For that, they got a whole nother system, and it starts with their feet. Elephants stand tippy-toe, with the back of the foot supported by a high heel of fat. Their toe area and their heel area have nerves in them that are particularly sensitive to touch. Both of these features help the elephant feel and listen to vibrations in the ground. Look, this one's listening to see if something's afoot with his foot. By stomping their feet or making low rumbles, elephants can create seismic waves that travel for miles through the ground, which is apparently louder than a man having a tantrum. When they reach another elephant, those waves travel up through the fat and through the bones of the elephant and up to its ears. The bones inside of the elephant's ear are especially large and tuned for these low-frequency vibrations. In this way, elephants can not only hear other elephants miles away, but they can figure out the direction too. Sometimes a group of elephants will even arrange themselves like a compass to better figure out where the sound is coming from. Pretty smart, right? Well, elephants are smart, at least according to them. They're also narcissists. Elephants have some big brains. Look at that one. It's dead.
They had 3 holes.
They have roughly 3 times the neurons of a human brain. But they only have 1/3 of the neurons that we have in the thinky parts. But you get what you get, and they do seem to know how to use what they have. I mean, look at this. They can move objects and use them to reach high up food. If you put one in front of a mirror, it gets all into it. But the science hippies wanted to test if the elephant knew that it was looking at itself. So they painted an X on its face, and look at that. The elephant touched it. It knows what's up, and it was totally checking itself out in the mirror. They seem to be aware of their own bodies. If you ask them to give you a handle that's attached to a mat that they're standing on, they understand that they have to move off of it first. And they can do teamwork too. You give them a 2-pulley situation where you can't go it alone, and they wait for another elephant to help out. Here's a variation on that, where there's still 2 pulleys but just 1 basket of food. Look at that, the big one takes it all for himself. What a dick. I mean, at this point, you're just f***ing with elephants. One of the areas where elephants have a lot more neurons than humans is in the part of the brain that deals with smelling. They're very good at it, and they can remember smells for a very long time. Here's an elephant casually walking by a pile of crap from an elephant she doesn't know. Gives it a sniff, as is the custom, and moves on. Now here's the same basic setup, but the turd is from her daughter, who she hasn't seen in 12 years. Now when she takes that whiff, she gets all excited. Goes back to check it out, ears flapping. It's like recognizing the perfume of your first crush. I mean, if they wore shit. You can do this experiment, by the way, and you don't need 12 years. Just go to Grandma's, take a shit in the living room, and hide in the closet. You'll know she loves you if she's happy to find it. Anyway, the daughter and mother were reunited, by the way. It'd be pretty messed up if they didn't do that. Now, starting at around 20 or 30 years, male elephants will sometimes go into something called must. Their hormones go crazy and they get all horny and aggressive. Sort of like intense puberty, but it gets very leaky. Like they're peeing, for example. Normally, elephants pee like this. Very straightforward, to-the-point peeing. But in must, they often don't drop their penis all the way and it comes out in a dribble. And look at that, he's thwapping it with his tail. It all helps to spread the scent of this sexy time urine. And if that wasn't enough, they start leaking out of these temporal glands on the side of their head. That stuff stinks too, and they waft it around by flapping their ears. These smells actually have information about how fit and strong the male elephant is. Now, females might use this to judge the quality of a potential mate, but other males use it to figure out who's most likely stronger and would win in a fight. And that way, you can ideally avoid the fight altogether. One issue here is that females
I think one of the only other animals to have
kicking his
sex for
penis?
fun is
it part of
dolphins.
must? What if it's not? Don't show it. It'll give people ideas. Well, it could become one of those
Oh, that's
TikTok
beating
challenges, and then everyone's kicking their dicks, Jerry. You want that? All right, let's move on. One issue here is that females are only down for it in short windows of time, and males and females don't live in the same herds. So it's always a booty call, literally. Both females and males have a hookup rumble that can travel for miles. Here you can see science hippies playing a
Chimps
female
definitely
estrus call and a confused male trying to figure out
I
where
think
it's coming
some
from.
do.
Apparently
There's
that's what
some
you do
that
with a
do it for literally, like,
PhD,
communication.
catfish an
Dolphins
elephant.
are one of the
Now,
few.
when they do find each
one
other,
of
it's
the
all
few, I
over
guess. I
fairly
suppose
quickly.
chimps would-
A lot
would
of
do it.
build-up and stinky urine for about 45 seconds of payoff. and it's a bit of a clumsy affair, not really built for the Kama Sutra. But it is cute that the male rests his trunk on the female. And sometimes, like in this shot, if the female is inexperienced or the male is particularly large, other females will gather around to give a bit of support and comfort. It's very sweet. You can do it, Ethel. You're doing great.
That
And
does
soon
not ring a
enough,
bell, so I'm
new
gonna go with
little
no.
elephant baby will be born. What, Jerry? How would they do it? Oh, you mean the kick your own dick challenge. Jerry, you don't even ask questions like that. I'm telling you, the young kids are so impressionable that you get, Irish dancing. That's what it would look like, Jerry. You know that sort of the hacky sack kick they do? I mean, if you practice that, I'm sure you could kick your own dick. No, Jerry, that's cheating. You can't have somebody else kick your dick. That's not even the same challenge. And I bet they already did it. Oh, that's a good question, Jerry. Can you be lying down while you do it? Like you're in a sit-up pose and you use your heel? See, that's interesting because it's exercise. Forget HIIT classes, Jerry. These days it's all kick your dick. This episode sponsored by Curiosity Stream. 20-some-odd million years ago, there was a bit of a rodent situation. Things had cooled off a bit, and the emerging grasslands were perfect for general rodent activities. Around the same time, there was a group of emerging carnivores, the mustelids, that saw
Look how
all this
cute
as an
that thing is.
opportunity for a buffet. Now, the innovation of the rodent, those meatballs of the field, was the ability to dig and
Meatballs of
burrow
the
with their
field.
claws and ever-growing front teeth. And it can be a challenge if your favorite snack is packaged in a maze of tunnels. So the innovation of the mustelids, like this one right here, was to develop a body plan that could go right into the tunnels after them. Their bodies got longer and their legs shorter until they took the form of a kitten snake, which is obviously awesome, but there's trade-offs just like anything else. You can see how good a ferret is in a tunnel. I mean, that's some crouched
Look how
down walking
cute
right
they
there.
are.
But if you're all stretched out like that, you're basically planking the whole time. And it's a great ab workout, but it takes some doing. So, when they walk out in the open, they arch their backs and bring their legs closer together to better bear the weight. On the plus side, they can use their bodies like a spring when they run. Here's a demonstration by a least weasel. It's a ridiculous name. I can think of plenty of...
How cute that is! Oh, this guy. I have seen this guy. I've seen him mostly in shorts, but I've seen him.
Hey kids, let me talk to you about dog breeding.
He needs a new
Nowadays,
mic.
dogs
Oh,
are
it's
mostly
7
around just
years.
to be a cute companion, right? So breeding has gone from functionality to cuteness. And that's fine, as long as it stays within the bounds of nature. But that's not enough for today's breeder. So, how do you make a dog cuter? Apparently, by giving it disgusting genetic deformities. And chances are, you, the listener, agree with that. You just don't know you do. Let me show you what I mean. See this? This is a relatively normal dog. Notice the snout, the eyes, the shape of the head. Not too far gone from the wolves that today's dogs come from. Now let me take you through some other breeds. First is the Bull Terrier. 100 years ago, still looked pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
Now here's today's version. Jesus, who needs snouts, right? Let's just give it a long, continuous boomerang-shaped head with 2 tiny holes at the end. Seriously, it looks like Toucan Sam is trying
It's
to
the
fit
Target
inside
dog.
a dog costume. And look at its eyes. They're permanently pointed up at the sky as if to say, God, why did you let me become this? Please kill me. Do you guys remember Spuds McKenzie, the old Bud Light mascot? Well, I just realized why they chose a Bull Terrier of all dogs. It's because he looked like his mom drank nothing but Bud Light for her entire pregnancy. Next up is the Pug. I'll probably get some hate for this
Fuck
one, but I
pugs.
don't care. They've been bred specifically to look like they've been smashed in the goddamn face with a frying pan. And because of this, because of their fact that their skull is shaped like a fucking tuna can, they can barely breathe their whole lives. Ever been around a pug? Constantly, no matter the temperature or the weather, they sit there going, "Gah, gah, gah, gah." And people think this shit is cute. If my baby came out with a flat nose, hair lip, cylindrical head, and no neck going, "Gah, gah, gah," I'd be like, Jesus fuck, put it back in. It's clearly not done yet. Next is the Dachshund. Now there is no excuse for this one. The head's fine, right? But the body, good God. It's got a torso shaped like a goddamn doorstop with those pointless legs just kind of stapled on. Now it's been a little while since I reminded you what a normal dog looks like, so here. Now let me go into Photoshop real quick and do all the changes necessary to make this dog look like a dachshund. Look at that. That's not okay. Why even have legs at this point? Might as well just keep going until it's just a drumstick from the neck down. And there's no reason. It's just one day someone was like, well, people like dogs and people like ferrets, so why don't we make some chimera abomination halfway in between the two and see what happens? My least favorite breed, though, out of all of them, it's just straight up fucked in every way. A testament to humankind's never-ending corruption of the natural world. I'm talking about the Chihuahua.
Yeah,
it's like
fuck
somebody
these
took a
things.
normal dog and boiled away every aspect except for anger and neuroticism, leaving this tiny hell creature behind. And this is one of the nicer pictures I could find. Take a look at this. Someone call a priest, and we let these things inhabit our homes. This poor woman's gonna wake up with her fucking nose chewed off and just be like, oh, Mr. Wiggles was a little hungry this morning, wasn't he? Meanwhile, the dog's just sitting there like, bloodlust. The only time they're not being needlessly aggressive towards people, it's when they're off pissing, shitting, and vomiting all over their surroundings. And you would think such a small dog would at least produce manageable waste, but much like the creature itself, the small things it does expel are straight up toxic. It's like some of the Chihuahua's pent-up hatred for the mortal plane manifests itself in every dump it takes. I would rather clean up a full-grown man's shit from my floor than wipe up the septic nightmare that is Chihuahua squirts. The only good thing about owning a Chihuahua is that if it ever gets rabies, it'll be fine, because you won't be able to tell the goddamn difference. It'll still be sitting there, business as usual. So that's my little rant about the monstrosities that live right beneath our noses. I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
Salmonella. Hold on. Oh, wait, no. Wait, where's my tab? Where'd my tab go? I was using that. What? Wait, so yes, that's great. It opened a... Where'd my shit go? Fucking... Hold on. If I could spell.
Sometimes the world becomes small. Maybe you know. Maybe someone left before you were ready. Or a future that was so clear just disappeared in a moment. Sometimes life is like that. Sometimes we fall ill. Sometimes it doesn't feel safe to go outside. And the world becomes small. Sometimes small is what's needed. Something simple. Some time to run your fingers over familiar scenes, to remember your shape, to find your capacity again. Give it time, and it finds the smallest spaces and fills them with whole universes, if you let it. When the world becomes small, there is enough. You are enough to fill it with all you need until you're ready for something new.
And yes, the Hydra was pooping. I knew that was the Stentor.
This episode is sponsored by Brilliant. Learn to think. Listen, this episode is about tarantulas, but I want you to know that this cricket here could not give a flying well, you'll see. But let's start from the beginning. These balls here are the developing eggs of an arachnid in the family Theraphosidae, otherwise known as a tarantula. Now, tarantulas are spiders, and spiders are arthropods. And arthropods are built out of little Lego block segments that often repeat like a centipede do. And look at that. You can see the segments right there. It's all rolled up in a ball, but if you unrolled it, it looks a bit like a pug version of a centipede. All the segments in the back will fuse together to form the big butt part of the spider. All the front segments also fuse together and become very leggy. But right now, this one's almost ready to hatch. You can see little fangs. And look, he's not even born yet, and he has a 5 o'clock shadow. When they hatch, these little babies are tiny. Eggs with legs is what they call them. They're very cute. I mean, look at the one on the left. It's got straight-up puppy dog eyes. These babies have a lot of growing to do, but for a tarantula, growing is a whole thing. They wear their skeletons on the outside, fashion choice. The skeletons don't really grow, so if they want to get bigger, they have to make a whole new one. Here, let's watch a grown-up one do it. Now, it does look a bit dead, but what's happening is that it's grown a whole new version of what you see right there underneath what you see right there. And now it's time to wriggle out of the old hairy onesie. It's like if you wanted a mustache and had to grow it underneath your skin and then rip your face off. Or like an exorcism, where you're both the demon and the possessed. Look at the back part there, went full wrinkled testy. After it's loosened up a bit, the tarantula uses its new legs to push off its old body. And look at all that stuff it had to rebuild, all the way down to those little hairs. And just to make it confusing, they're not even called hairs, they're called setae. And they're not like our hairs, which don't do shit. They can do all sorts of things. You'll see. This looks a bit like a Muppet sex toy. Anyway, after the mold's done, it must feel a little weird, walking away from essentially your corpse. And of course, the way they walk is a whole thing. They have an open circulatory system. Basically, the tubes that come out the heart just end and dump blood into different parts of the body cavity. Blood goes back into the heart through slits on the heart itself. So their bodies are sort of like a blood-filled demon stress ball. And that's sort of how they move. They squeeze blood into their legs to extend them, and then they use muscles to pull them back. A dead tarantula has no blood pressure, so its legs curl in. Now, at the end of their feet, they got little claws, and they use them to climb on rough surfaces. But look at that, they can also climb on glass. I know what you're thinking, how the hell do they do that? So it turns out they have these little hairy pads on their feet. And if you look close, they're like little feathers designed to spread out and make close contact with the microstructure of a surface. The close contact creates tiny little attractive forces called van der Waals forces. And if you add up a whole bunch of those tiny forces, you can hold on. And you don't need any glue. It's called dry adhesion. But here's the thing, when tarantulas walk on glass, they leave behind these little goopy footprints. Doesn't look that dry to me. And of course, the science hippies can't leave something like that alone. One team found silk in the footprints, and they found these little things with holes in them on their feet. So they said that must be where the silk comes from. And so they published a paper saying that tarantulas cling to smooth surfaces by secreting silk from their feet. Some other scientists were like, hold on, there's silk everywhere. How do you know they didn't just step in some ordinary butt silk and were walking around with it stuck to their shoe like toilet paper? This second team covered a tarantula's butt with wax, so there wasn't any stray silk. When they redid the experiment, there was no silk in the footprints. And so they published a paper saying that tarantulas do not shoot silk from their legs. Burn. And another group found that those setae with holes in them were actually fluid-filled tubes used to sample and sense chemicals. So the footprints are sort of like leftovers from licking the ground. The tarantula was fine. They washed it off with a bit of warm water, and it got a free butt waxing out of it. Hush now, I know what you're thinking. What about that cricket? The one that don't give up? Well, we'll get to that in a minute, after a brief message about our sponsor. Brilliant is a wonderful hands-on way to learn science, math, and computer science. They have thousands of lessons to choose from at levels ranging... Where were we? Oh, right. So tarantulas' feet may not make silk, but their back bits certainly do. And they're out there tippy-tapping all over the place. They live in these burrows that they line with silk. Sometimes it's a little hidey hole in the ground, and sometimes it's up in a tree. The silk they make isn't the sticky kind, but all those threads that they leave outside their burrow are sort of an extension of their senses. They got little hair things on their legs that can sense tiny vibrations, so they can tell if something's snooping around. Well, not that time. You know this fly's f***ed. They can grab with their front legs and then hold on with these little arm-like things called pedipalps. Now, right next to their mouth, they've got a stubby little pair of limbs called the chelicerae, and that's where the fangs are, and the fangs probably evolved from claws. So the fangs are more like if you had little T-Rex hands with teeth for fingers on either side of your mouth hole. These fangs are hollow and connected to a venom gland that delivers, well, venom. This venom both paralyzes prey and begins to digest them from the inside. Alright,
friend's
so if you've
tarantula
ever
was making
wondered how
so
few the
walking up
f***s
my
are
arm.
that a cricket gives,
Like it was
then look at
smoking?
this.
That's
This
pretty cool.
tarantula right here is eating 2 crickets.
Okay, tarantulas I think are super cool. Some of them are dangerous as shit. But like, if I was gonna keep a spider, it would either be a tarantula or a jumping spider. Because jumping spiders, let's face it, are fucking adorable.
But you know what the cricket in the front is doing? It's friggin' eating the other cricket. I mean, that right there is a cricket that don't give a fuck. Now, the fangs don't just puncture. You can see them right here sort of squeezing. The side of the chelicerae opposite the fangs is lined with little teeth-like structures that help crush the prey, like a little nutcracker. Ooh, that's nasty. This is important because spiders forgot to evolve a mouth that can chew. They just have a narrow tube connected to a sucking stomach, which acts a bit like the bulb end of a pipette. Tarantulas are essentially on a liquid diet and have to puree their food and even strain it through special straining hairs to get rid of the chunks. They often wrap their prey up in silk, which can be a bit of an awkward pirouette if the food's up front and the silk.
Chelsea, I gotta show you something. In the Discord for Cinderwing 3D. This is one of the models they just released. It's a cowboy frog. He's quite lovely. That and these lovely, cute little spiders, little rose and clover spiders. Look at the boys. I can put them on me Etsy. Oh, cool. And send you a box of them bastards.
Comes out the back. It's not easy, and some of the things they eat are big, like this one got a baby possum. You try making silk pajamas for a possum with your...
Is there as a Frank video? True facts about the frog from 10 years ago. So this is how his videos started out.
Here we will explore true facts about the frog. Frogs are not merely proof that French people will put anything into their mouths. They are also amphibians, which means that they're a bit wishy-washy on the whole evolution thing. Oh, that was pretty cool. Did you see that? It has a transparent eyelid. Good for sexy winking. The frog begins its life as water larvae that resemble gigantic sperms, which should make you appreciate how tiny our sperm is. If our sperm was that big, it would
I
be
can see
uncomfortable for everyone. Think
So
about
that
it.
was actually how the project started, and I still want to do a version like this where they would be, again, because magnets are cool, magnets along the edges, and then they'd be powered lithophane tiles so that it's art that you shine light through the back to make, you know, like fucking, where they all go. Where they all go. There they all go. This one. I'll show you this one. Like these. Looks like a blank tile until you put light behind it. And then it's an image. And it's pretty cool. Sperms the size of tadpoles. I mean, if suddenly one day that was how it worked, that would be quite terrifying. But if I got a feeling that if they were always like that, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Now stop
But it was going to
thinking
be
about it, you
hexagons that
perv.
magnet together and
After
are
a
all
time, as a
powered by
Spanish
pogo pins.
water-breathing vegetarian,
So you
the
just
larvae
power
undergo
the
a
one and then
rapid
they all snap
24-hour
together.
metamorphosis, reabsorbing their tails, growing limbs and lungs, and emerging as graceful adult frogs.
It'd be like passing a kidney stone.
Although now an air breather, the frog still relies on its permeable
Nah, you just
skin
pick 'em
for
up.
oxygen and keeps its skin moist by producing mucus. Imagine sneezing, but through your entire body. That is how a frog do. Every couple of days, the frog sheds its skin, and as the French may or may not do, it eats its own full-body booger in public. Perhaps the taste of booger awakens a taste for flesh, for the adult frog preys upon the living. Whoa, settle down there, Spazzy. Luckily for this mouse, the frog eats worms and holy crap. Strike that. Not lucky. Not lucky for the mouse. Yes, and just like the French, the frog even has a taste for frog. When Kermit first met Miss Piggy, he said, "Be careful, I might eat you." And that became one of the biggest miscommunications of all time. Right now, you're probably wondering, am I a frog? How could I tell? Here's a simple test. Listen to this. If that turned you on, you might be a frog, because all of those frogs were basically saying, "F me." Except that last one. He was just saying, after a female has chosen a male based on how loud he yells, "F me," he climbs on her back and holds her very tightly in what is known as amplexus. Oh, that's sad. The little eyeball peeking out at the bottom. It's not where you want to be. Amplexus sometimes lasts for days and doesn't really look all that sexy. The squeezing, however, triggers the female to release her eggs, which he then fertilizes externally. Messy, froggy style. The fertilized eggs lack a shell and are fragile and must be kept moist and protected. Some frogs take this very seriously. The unusual Suriname toad, yes, toads are frogs, moves the eggs to her back. The eggs then sink into her flesh to form safe pockets in which the larvae develop. That is very disturbing to me.
Yes,
I
it
have
is.
nightmares where that happens to my legs. Oh, you can see them moving.
Yeah, I
Oh.
hate that.
All right, they're coming out. Look away. Look away. Oh, I'm not looking. That is traumatic. Oh. Always remember,
Fuck you, nature.
practice safe sex, or your back might just get pregnant. Here we will explore true facts about the ostrich. The ostrich is like the bird you would turn into if you met a dick genie. I don't mean a dick genie, that's different. I mean a genie who is being a dick. You know, wish granted, you're a bird. Awesome. But you can't fly. Oh, f***. But you're a giant. You're like the biggest bird. Okay. Like even your eyes are giant. Bigger than any other land animal. Almost the size of a cue ball. Are you seeing this? In fact, just one of your eyeballs is bigger than your whole brain. I don't think that's a good thing. At times, the ostrich looks a bit like the makers of the Dark Crystal ran out of supplies and just glued floor sweepings onto a starving chicken. Don't get me wrong, it's a sensual bird with luscious lips. A bit thin. Non-existent, really, but as pouty as you can get without having lips. The legs of the ostrich are very strong, and they end in 2 big-ass feet. These feet are specialized for running, and each foot has 2 toes. You won't see an ostrich giving you the middle finger, but don't feel bad, it can still do the peace sign, or stick its thumb in a pumpkin and still tickle a kitten. From a distance, the ostrich can look like a dinosaur, but maybe where the top half of the dinosaur fell off at some point. The ostrich moves a bit like if Segway took a stab at reinventing the horse, or perhaps like a very well-greased ATST walker if you speak hyper-nerd. It can run up to
If you
43
speak
miles
hyper-nerd.
per hour, the fastest land speed of any bird. It's not the most popular event at the Bird Olympics. The chickadees don't even send a delegate. As the ostrich is a flightless bird, one might assume that like a snow globe filled with chili con carne, its wings and feathers are useless. However, the ostrich
Like a
seems to use
snow
its
globe
wings
filled
sort
with
of like a
chili con
rudder or
carne.
braking system while it runs. Whoops. Ostrich feathers don't have the Velcro-like hooks that lock flying
Hi,
feathers into
Echo.
their distinctive shape. Instead, they have downy, floppy feathers, which are excellent for temperature regulation. Wings and feathers also come in handy to attract mates in mating season. The ostrich does have an 8-inch retractable penis, as you can see here. Jerry, why is it blurry? Oh, it's like the new policy thing. All right, I'll just describe it. Imagine if you made a sock puppet out of pork meat, and you were bad at making sock puppets. Males will mate with a number of female ostriches, although one will be his main lady ostrich, but his side ostriches out of your league too are. It is time for the females to lay their eggs. Jerry, where's the footage? That's not allowed either? Well, we need a visual, so you know what you have to do, Jerry. The egg emerges from the female's cloaca, a multi-purpose... What is that, a smoothie? That's not a bad cloaca, Jerry, but we need to see the egg. Here in the wild, we see the miracle of birth. Like everything else ostrich, these are big-ass eggs. A communal nest of up to 60 eggs is formed, with the dominant female's eggs in the center. At times, she may even remove some of the lesser female's eggs from the nest. It can get tense. Brenda, where's my egg? I don't know, did you lose it? No, I laid it right here. Well, maybe it hatched and went to dumb poopy buttbird school like his mom. They're not great at insults. They have a tiny brain. Females guard the nest during the day, while the male takes his turn at night. 42 days later, the cutest little babies are born, and they are
Look how
nearly ready
cute
to
they
fend
are.
for themselves. But of course, the burning question is why? Why the ostrich? Here's the best guess right now. About 66 million years ago, an extinction event killed off all the dinosaurs, but also all land animals over about 50 pounds. Before that, being a small
Dude,
animal on the
this
ground was a
YouTube
bit
channel's
like riding a
fantastic. I bet
tricycle
this
in a
good for
mosh pit.
forever.
The sudden lack of predators gave some birds the opportunity to hang out on the ground
used
a bit
to-
more.
originally it was just
One
bullshit
branching
facts,
lineage
but now
of
it's actually
birds
become like
seems
an
to have
educational
produced a
channel.
number of
It's fantastic.
species that lost flight independent of one another. These are known as the ratites, the emu, rhea, cassowary, kiwi, and the ostrich. Ratite comes from the Latin for raft, and all of these birds have lost their keel, an extension of the breastbone to which flight muscles attach. For whatever reason, this lineage seems predisposed to become birds of the ground.
I got
A few, like the ostrich and the extinct elephant bird, became giants as they cornered their ecological niche. Others, like the
We'll turn the
kiwi, if
video down
held
a
by
little
the
bit.
beak, look like a floppy popsicle. Sometimes people may expect you to fly, but if you see an opportunity to run instead, you run as fast and hard as you can until you're the fastest thing on two legs. Who gives a crap what people expect of you? That is how the ostrich do. The dominant Oh, this is a good one, Jerry. Why didn't you use this? Oh, the feather got stuck to it. How many times did you do this? Oh, this is the chick emerging from the egg. That's not bad, Jerry. I don't think we can use it, but I think you're really going above and beyond. Just as a coda, one of the ostriches asked me to read this. Dear viewer, ostriches don't stick their heads in the sand. If you keep saying that, I will stick my head in your butt. You know, as I'm reading it, I feel like he might not have thought that all the way through. But at this point, I think it's between you and the bird. You know, don't kill the messenger.
What do we got? Which animal you want to see next? Giraffes, mosquitoes, wild pigs, hummingbirds, beavers, snails, dragonflies and damselflies, pangolins, crabs, macaques, ogre-faced spiders or sea cucumbers?
What do you want?
Hummingbird.
This is the hummingbird. Hummingbirds are tiny little birds, so tiny that moths are sometimes mistaken for hummingbirds. And the blue jays, you know how they are, they tease, "Where's your pupa?" And then the hummingbird's like, "It's pronounced pupa and I'm not a moth." But if you start correcting the pronunciation of a bully, you're a nerd bird. And they're like, "Hey nerd bird, are you gonna stick your freaky fingernail tongue into some flower's sexy hole?" And to be honest, that one is actually fair. They do have a freaky little tongue. We'll get back to that in a second. But you don't just wake up one day saying you want a deep tongue of flower, just like no one has a to-do list that includes trying to snort cocaine residue out of a shag carpet. It's just the sad outcome of a very serious addiction. Flowers contain nectar, which contains sugar, and hummingbirds are addicted to it. Jerry, I don't need the phonetics, I can read. But this isn't some hiding a bunch of Kit Kats in random drawers around the apartment kind of sugar addiction. You know who you are. These little hummers drink more than twice their body weight in nectar each day, using their tongue. And this is no ordinary run-of-the-mill tongue. The back part is fleshy like ours, but it has a bone in it, don't judge. The long front part, however, is made of keratin, like a fingernail. And this fingernail tongue grows in a curious shape. If we zoom in, you can see that a cross-section of the tongue looks like two tadpoles that got into an argument. On closer inspection, it looks like a thumb smear wipe of mucus on a windshield. But magnified further, it resembles a fancy reclaimed wood cheese board you got as a gift, but don't use because cheese gets in those little cracks and holes. It's bullshit. However, if you zoom in all the way, you know what that looks like. That is the pattern on a Mead composition notebook. The very pattern that contains a spot that looks precisely like a cross-section of a hummingbird beak. Anyway, you can see that it forms two not rolled up all the way fruit roll-ups. I know what you're thinking, two straws, right? Wrong. As if nature ever does things the easy way. Even if you close the tubes up, they back into that fleshy bit, so no sucky-sucky. Instead, Dr. Margaret Rubega and her team discovered these are flexible mechanical pumps. When the hummingbird sticks out its tongue, it smushes these tubes in its beak parts. A thin layer of water molecules keeps it smushed, even though it wants to return to its tube shape. On contact with the nectar, the whole thing springs open and pulls the nectar into the tubes. The loaded tongue is pulled back into the beak, where the nectar is squeezed out during the next tongue flattening. And this all happens very quickly, 15 licks every second, and they will take over 1,000 of these drinks a day. That's a lot of lick friction, and so this fingernail tongue is continuously growing as the tip wears down. But these little badasses make the most of everything, and even the wear and tear is an engineering marvel. Watch what happens right at the end of the tongue. Whee! It's like a party. The tip of the hummingbird tongue is the ultimate split end. The two tubes separate and begin to fray, sort of like the leaves on a tropical plant. The resulting structure looks like two tiny feathers that fairies might tickle each other with. When this bifurcated tip enters the nectar, the fronds spread out, like a centipede trying to give a hug. This little nectar mop increases the surface area at the tip of the tongue, and helps to get into those hard-to-reach places inside a flower's naughty bits. As it exits the nectar, the whole structure closes back up, trapping additional sugar sauce that wasn't pulled up into the tubes. When a hummingbird says just the tip, you might be licked dry in an instant. Jerry, that's a moth. So anyway, they're out there flip-flapping all over the place, hitting the juice with their freaky tongue, and they're tweaked out. You've been there. It's like cramming for a test with a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper. All jittery and you have to pee every minute. I'm telling you, everything's up to 11 with these tiny puffball junkie birds. And when they're hopped up looking for that next flower fix, their little wing parts are going at 30 to 40 flaps per second. And their heart, forget about it. Well, not before I say it. It's like a speed corset at an EDM concert. Somewhere between 500 and 1,000 beats per minute. Now forget about it. And they run hot. You can see it on this tie-dye cam. Friggin' science hippies. 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately, look it up on Google yourself, Celsius. Friggin' metric system. Takes all the romance out of measurement. I want my units based on the size of a king's unit. That's what a shitload is. 1 king's loaf. Anyway, these jacked up Hummers are caught in this crazy trade-off. If you want to take 1,000 drinks, you have to be quick in all directions, so you get small. And you can't store what you eat as fat or it'll slow you down. So you end up constantly converting the sugar you eat to energy so that you can get more sugar to eat. And if you stop, you starve. It is a vicious bicycle. Jerry, it's cycle. It's not short for bicycle. So with all that going on, you can't blame them for being a little bit aggro sometimes. And by a little bit, I mean crouching tiger, asshole hummingbird sort of aggro. They can be vicious little bastard birds. It's like MMA, but on a trapeze, and with swords. It's a Jet Li movie. Hummingbirds will often aggressively defend a territory. They have remarkable spatial memory, and their territory can be a long path of flowers that they visit each day, referred to as a trap line. But of course, a well-hung feeder is the motherlode. Jerry, Freud would have a field day with that sentence. You need help. Your background patio is basically a SummerSlam wrestling event, with tiny birds beaking the shirt out of each other. Some species take it a step further, and the males have full-on weaponized beaks, complete with dagger-like serrated toothy things on their tomia, the outside borders of their jaw parts, as well as hooked tips. The fairies don't even try to ride these ones. They're too dangerous. I mean, if they find a dead one, they'll take the beak off and make 2 saws out of it, use them to cut down twigs to make toothpicks. That's how they're made, and that's how fairies put food on the table, and I'll shit in a cup if you say otherwise. These shorter weapon beaks are most likely less efficient for feeding, but the trade-off allows them to defend the flowers that they like the most, sending the other hummingbirds who don't want to deal with crazy farther afield. Now, you can imagine that after a long day of running on fumes, all tweaked out and getting the crap beaked out of you, you'd start feeling ridden hard and put away wet. What is that, Jerry? That sounds dirty. It's about what? Jerry, we don't use that word. Oh, I see. Horse. You're saying a horse. Well, that's perverted, Jerry. When cold or darkness makes it too costly an energy for the hummingbird to keep up its habit, it goes into something called torpor, the hummingbird version of a sugar crash. It's extreme. It's like a did you try unplugging it and plugging it back in kind of crash. Its body temperature can drop more than 40 degrees, matching the temperature of the air around it. Its heart rate drops from over 1,000 beats per minute to under 100. This allows the hummingbird to use just a fraction of the energy it expends during the day, which prevents the bird from starving to death. In this state, the bird is offline and cannot respond to outside stimuli. 2 tendons in their landing gear lock their little bird feet in place, so they can hang on even if the naughty teenage fairies come and tip them over in the middle of the night. When it's time to wake up, it can take them up to 20 minutes to shiver and shake their way up to normal body temperature. And of course, the first thing they do is hit the sauce. As springtime approaches, the hummingbirds start to get horny, and they prepare to do a kind of reverse spring break. While college students fly south to sip on drinks with flowers in them and get laid in places like Cabo San Lucas, hummingbirds leave places like Cabo San Lucas and fly north to sip on flowers with drinks in them and get laid in places like Toledo. I'm not busting on Toledo. I'll leave that to the hummingbirds. Sorry. But first, they must fatten up for the journey. They will nearly double their weight, so they have the energy reserves for these intense journeys that can even take some of these little chubby puffballs across the Gulf of Mexico. Hummingbirds eat insects in order to round out their diet with vital amino acids and fats. Although it looks a bit like trying to catch a fly with tweezers, their bottom beak part is flexible and both bends downward and widens when they open their mouths, right before it all snaps shut. They are not above stealing food directly from a spider's web, while it watches no less. It's the second crappiest thing they do to the spider. After they migrate, they are ready to bump uglies, so to speak, and it's like the balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet, but the agro-musical theater version. Males put on quite a show, little aerial dances where they puff out their gorgets, which is like a built-in ascot. But in terms of impressing the females, the males have one more trick up their, well, you'll find out. With a female perched below, the male climbs high up into the sky above her. When he is satisfied with his ups, he turns around and heads downward in an arc, flapping his little wings to gain speed in a dive that can reach nearly 50 miles per hour. As he approaches the bottom of the arc just above the female, he flashes his gorget and makes a sound. That was an Anna's hummingbird, but each species makes its own sound. The black-chinned hummingbird makes this sound. The rufous hummingbird sounds like this. And then there's the calliope hummingbird,
That's
the
a pretty
smallest bird in North America. It does a little barrel roll right at the end. Let's listen. For science, let's slow that down. A little bit more for science. These sounds are not made with their mouth parts. They're made with their butts, sort of. You may have noticed at the bottom of the ark, the male fans out his tail feathers. Dr. Chris Clark and his team put some of these feathers into a wind tunnel. I mean, if you had your own wind tunnel, you'd put all kinds of crap in. Not a baby, not mayonnaise, but definitely the butt feathers of the bird. They found that these tail feathers are...
Just the fucking thought process. Like, you had a fucking... If you had a wind tunnel, you'd put all sorts of things in it. Not a baby. Not mayonnaise, but I mean...
specialized to make sound as air rushes past them. Different feathers in different positions make different sounds. Sometimes feathers will even interact with one another. One function of the hummingbird dive is to build up speed so they can use their butt feathers as an instrument. Imagine impressing your date on a picnic by climbing up a large hill, then running down as fast as you can, and right when you pass them, spreading your cheeks and... That is how a hummingbird do. If the female is up for it, then they will rub their cloacas together. Not totally sure how the position works, lots of feathers in the way, but there's rubbing. Then the male f***s right off and the female is left to do everything else. And she's good at it too. She builds a tiny nest from fluffy things like moss, lichen, and dandelion down. To weave it together, she will steal the silk from spiders' webs. I told you. Like a good pair of sweatpants, the nest is designed to stretch as the eggs hatch and the babies grow. During this time, she must protect her nest as well as find food, both for herself and to puke into her waiting babies' beaks. To keep her babies warm at night, she will avoid torpor and keep her little engine running day and night. All of this, and then one day they are grown. Ready to venture out. What was that? Seriously, Jerry, I'm trying to do the ending and you have a psychedelic bird baby taking a shit right on screen. Well, that's ruined. I mean, the point was going to be
bird
don't
baby
do
taking
drugs.
a shit.
Not a lot of them, anyway. Everything in moderation. Except moderation. You do that all the time. I mean, if you wake up and your tongue is in the shape of a crack pipe, like that's a good sign. I mean, it's a good sign that it's bad. The hummingbird is a pollinator. As it sticks its beak into the flower's hole, it gets the flower's male stuff all over its face. Jerry, I can't read this. I don't care if that's how the flowers get all pregnant. It's smut. Jerry, that's a moth.
Jerry, that's a moth.
This episode sponsored by Brilliant. Learn to think. The adult form of
getting out of the way,
insects in the
Chelsea.
order Lepidoptera, the butterflies and the moths, are some of the most beautiful insects in the world. But come on, they're ridiculous. Just look at them. To get to this point, they've had to go through a baby phase as a sort of above-ground, slow-moving worm thing. And then they just hang out for a couple weeks in a sleeping bag dingleberry. So they've had plenty of time to plan, and this is what they turn into. I mean, it's not like being in nature as a walk in the park where I get...
Look at this thing. This creature cannot be real. Look at this. It's literally the rosy maple moth. It's like a poodle. It's adorable. It's a precious creature. And they sell plushies of it, and I don't know why I don't own one. Like, what kind of creature is pink and yellow in nature? It's adorable. Look at that thing. All right, fine, we'll do crabs.
This episode is sponsored by Babbel. Right here is an island called Christmas Island because the person who named it first saw it on Christmas. Not that creative, but I suppose better than Today Island. And if you'd been distracted, might have been Yesterday Island, so not bad considering. Anyway, Christmas Island is home to, among other things, many species of crabs. And a number of those, like this red crab here, are land crabs. This means that these crabs have adaptations that let them live completely out of the water and in burrows on the inner parts of the island. With one caveat.
All right, fine, moths.
This episode
Let's
is
do
sponsored
moths.
by Brilliant. Learn to think.
Don't worry, it shows them
Is what
getting
they
eaten.
turn into. I mean, it's not like being in nature as a
Look
walk
at
in the
these-
park.
look
Well,
at
I
that.
guess it is. But my point is,
a
it's
big,
dangerous out
stupid,
there for a
fat
butterfly.
idiot.
Jerry, that's a fish. Oh, dang. That bird's a dick. My point is, everything's trying to eat you, and that's the body you're working with? Come
Look
on,
at
it's
that,
like
that's
being
so
in the middle
cool.
of a
Even
battlefield
though I think
and
that's the
someone's
moth that has
dancing
the crazy
around in a
tentacles, but
kimono.
don't worry about
Just
it.
look at the way they fly. It's like a drunk person trying to find the bathroom in an IKEA. But don't fall for it. It's a ruse. Lepidopterans are the perfect killing machines. Jerry, that's not true. Well, I don't care if you saw it on Reddit. We talked about this. Do your job, Jerry. Anyway, butterflies and moths
I don't
have
care
two
if you
pairs
saw it
of
on
wings,
Reddit.
one in front and one in back. These wings, in comparison to their bodies, are much larger and broader than those of other flying animals. Now, being lightweight with huge flappers means that they can take advantage of some of the fluid properties of air. First off, they don't flap that often, around 10 times a second. Compare that to the 200 times a second of a bee, for example. With each stroke, the edges of their wings create swirls of air that resemble smoke rings. On the downstroke, these vortex rings move down and away from the body, which results in vertical lift. But on the upstroke, the rings move away more horizontally, which causes the butterfly to move forward. So as the butterfly flies, it leaves behind a trail of these vortex rings as it alternates between lift and propulsion. But there's an additional trick going on here. These wings are razor sharp and people get killed to death. Really, Jerry? Just stop it. These wings are quite floppy. And if you're paying attention, you can see that on the upstroke, the wings bend in a way that causes the front edges to come together first. This seal creates a pocket of air that's squeezed out like a fart from under a duvet as the rest of the wings close on each other. And that air bubble is shot right out through the center of a vortex ring. Just like that fart was initially shot up, and this creates even more forward propulsion. Now, when they fly backwards, they change the angle of their body so the upstroke creates lift and the downstroke moves them horizontal. So when you see butterflies flip-flapping all over the place like the flying equivalent of a mosh pit, they're doing that on purpose. They can fly in a freaking straight line if they want to. No, they do that crazy flying shtick to with the birds that want to eat them. It's a defensive strategy. Float like a butterfly, it stings when I pee sort of thing. Here, you know how some butterflies are toxic to birds, right? Not my personal favorite form of defense, by the way. Yeah, that's right. I taste like crap. Eat me, bird. Oh, shit, you are. Here, for example, is a blue jay puking right after eating a monarch. I showed him. Anyway, the poisonous ones often have brightly colored wings, so at least the birds can learn to stay away after a couple bouts of food poisoning. These toxic ones also tend to fly slower and straighter. It's like another signal to the birds not to f with them. Now, non-toxic, delicious butterflies will often mimic the colors and patterns of toxic butterflies to get some of that protection. And some of these mimicking butterflies are polymorphic, which means they can come in a number of different forms. Sometimes each one of those forms mimics a different toxic butterfly, but it goes beyond that. Females of the species Papiliopolitus come in a few different forms. This one, the top one, its mating, mimics a toxic butterfly, while this form mimics a non-toxic male. Here's the kicker. When it mimics the toxic butterfly, it doesn't just mimic its colors, it mimics how it flies, flying slower and straighter. And that's the thing. These beautiful insects are bullshit artists, and it all comes back to those wings. I mean, I know they look like they're made from tissue paper that got wet over top a child's marker drawing, but that's more bullshit. They're incredibly sophisticated. Don't get me started. Well, I guess I already have. The whole thing kicks off in the sleeping bag thing. First, the basic shape of the wing is formed by these two membranes that sandwich together around veins. The veins both add some structure, but also carry the butterfly's version of blood, butterblood. Once that's on its way, a series of overlapping scales begin to form on the outside surface. And each one of those scales is anchored into its own little socket. As these scales form, you can see colors begin to emerge, transforming them into the scary clowns of the insect world. Jerry, you're afraid of butterflies. They're not dangerous. No, clowns are. I mean, butterflies aren't. You can see that it's not just one pattern that forms, but rather a series of patterns that overlay one another. Some of these colors, like these browns and blacks, are made from pigments like melanin, which we have in our skin. Pigments work by absorbing certain wavelengths of light and reflecting others. Your bright blue t-shirt absorbs all the wavelengths except the bluish ones, which are reflected back to your eyes. The scales of the butterfly can have some pigments in them, but so can the membranes underneath them. Here is Cyproetta stellennis. On the right, all of its scales have been removed from the wing. The remaining green is formed from a liquid pigment in the membrane that can stain a piece of paper if you touch it. But this is a bit unusual. Many of the brightest and most impressive colors on butterfly wings don't come from pigments or anything that would stain a piece of paper that touched them. Instead, the colors are made from the architecture of the scales themselves. If you zoom in, you can see that scales are made of these ridges, and the ridges can come in a number of different three-dimensional shapes. In some, there's a place for little pockets of pigment to hang out, but in others, there's no pigment at all. Instead, there are these structures called lamellae, which are just the right size and shape to take advantage of some of the strange properties of light. As light hits one of these, a certain amount is reflected back off the surface, and some light just passes right through. But depending on how thick these are, some wavelengths are reflected off the back surface. Now, these two sources of reflected light interact with each other, sometimes canceling each other out, but sometimes amplifying each other to create an intense color. Whatever light passed on through often hits another one of these lamellae, and then another, reflecting back even more of a certain wavelength. That's how this blue morpho, for example, gets such a vivid blue. If you change the angle that the light hits these structures, the wavelengths interfere with each other differently. And that's why some butterflies shimmer and appear iridescent as they move. This is different from pigments, which reflect the same wavelength regardless of which way you look at them. Oh look, that one's laying babies. But often these butterfly colors are the combination of both pigments and the structural colors made by the lamellae. That blue morpho from before has a layer of black pigment underneath, which absorbs the light that passed through and wasn't reflected. But there's another species of morpho that has the reflective scales but not the black pigment, and the wings appear this bluish opal white. If you want to learn more about the physics of how butterfly wings get their color, or the computer science behind things like artificial intelligence, or even how a toilet works, well, Brilliant.org is a free and easy way to learn about math, science, and computer science. I've been looking at the course on how LLMs, or large language models, work. It shows you the building blocks behind how artificial intelligence can generate text from prompts. Like, give me a 40-word book review of Moby Dick as read by Cookie Monster. You learn about some of the core concepts like tokenization, where text is split into smaller units, or temperature, which isn't about heat, but rather how random the output will be. There's thousands of lessons tailored to your interests and skill level, and they're interactive, so you can go at your own pace and get some help if you need it. To try everything that Brilliant has to offer, free for a full 30 days, visit Brilliant.org/ZayFrank, or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription, and you'll be supporting a brand that helps make this show possible. Try Brilliant today. Where were
Brilliant
we?
is good
Oh,
shit.
right. Now, if you've got the
That is
ability
a
to do all that
beautiful
with
moth.
color, you know you're going to get creative.
Those are in
These
India.
tiny little patches of cells sometimes form on the wing, and they release proteins that cause the surrounding scales to create different sorts of pigments. This is how butterfly eye spots are formed. And I get it. You turn a corner and see one of these, you might shit your pants. This one, not so much, more of a sad vibe. And then come on, I mean, this one's just adorable. I don't want to run away, I want to get closer to it. And then, of course, there's too much of a good thing. But why stop at just eyes? I mean, you could tattoo snake heads on your shoulders. Who's going to want to f with you then? Now, if you're not feeling flamboyant, you can take a more subtle approach and blend into the background. Or be see-through. Sort of. I mean, come on, that looks just like a dead leaf. Standing upright on a living leaf. Shh. But if a predator sees through your little disguise, you're not f***ed yet. Some butterflies and moths that are drab or camouflaged have bright colors on the insides of their wings. So if they get found out, they can buy some time with a little razzle-dazzle. And that shit works. And the science hippies know because they f with the chickens. Chicken thinks it's in for a nice meal and then nope. Reacts like a sane person would if they picked out a black licorice jelly bean. If you're one of those weirdos that likes them, I don't want to hear it. It's an abomination. Now, if all of this doesn't work and you're about to get a bite taken out of you, you still have some control over what part gets bit. Those long things on the back wings of the swallowtail, for example, seem to be effective at drawing an attack. And in fact, the veins on those back segments are weaker to allow for a piece to rip off a bit more easily. And that's not a bad result. Butterflies and moths can often fly just fine, missing a back wing or two. The back wings, it turns out, help more in dodging and weaving than they do with the actual flying. And that's why some of them look a bit ridden hard and put away wet. I'm bringing that phrase back. Now, moths that are active at night sometimes have these really long tails. In the dark, they can't really use colors and patterns to the same defensive effect, because the bats that hunt them use sound instead of vision to hunt. Shoo? Having a really long tail can confuse the hell out of a bat, or at least get it to do minimal damage. But when you're getting hunted by something that uses sound, there's other tricks you can use to confuse the hunter. Some moths have scales that can absorb sound, making them invisible or inaudible, I don't know. But another way to go is make more sound. Most moths have exceptional hearing and can sense when a bat is closing in. And some use special structures that can create clicking sounds to jam the bat's sonar. Sometimes that involves scales on the moth's abdomen, or in this case, the genital valve. You can try this at home. Now there's a species of moth that lost its ability to hear, so it can't hear the bats coming. You know what it does? It uses part of its wing beat to make a sound, so it can make bat-confusing noise all the time. And so the bats try to catch things that don't exist. And that is how the lepidopterans do. Haven't done that for a while, have we, Jerry? Oh, and also, it's not floats like a butterfly, it stings when I pee, Jerry. It's a bee. The bee isn't peeing, Jerry. It's stinging.
I'm neutral on butterflies, but I really like moths.
The bee isn't the reason it stings while... No, what do you mean, how did it get up there? No one's peeing, Jerry.
Hold on, I gotta fucking... He has a shorts channel. Hold on, I gotta find it. Creepy Dave. Yeah.
Today's best favorite animal is called Godardodon Retriever-Dots. It's such a cool dog. You know how sometimes it's like, where did the good news fairy go? It's like, no good news. This bad news fairy take poop on every day. Did good news fairy die? No, it's just she has another job, too. Every time Golderdong's pupsies is born, a good news fairy gives it a kiss, so it'd be happy its whole life. Kiss means it's never be bald. It's grow long golden hairs forever. So much hairs they leave them on pillows or beds or carpets, so people who don't have hairs can use them for themselves. It's so nice. But a kiss from Good News Fairy can be dangerous. It can turn part of your brain into candy. It's okay. It just means the dang sometimes don't make best choices. Like roll around in things that smell bad or eat the poop from cat. Golden Donger don't eat the poops from cats. This is why it's my best favorite animal. Okay, bye. Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay.
Golden Donger, Pervitar.
A number of crabs in the genus.
Oh, that's a normal one.
Today's best favorite holiday is called Christostamus. As you can see, people...
These are exactly what I want. I want the shorts.
Today's best favorite holiday is called Christostamus. As you can see, people buy the head of a tree. It's to celebrate. Today's best favorite animal is called Armadillo. You know, if like a dragon does something really, really mean and then it dies? He's come back as Armadillos to practice being nice again. It's like time out. Sometimes they get sad and can't really fly with those tiny wings. But they have really strong armor, probably made from steels and, maybe look like pubes? They don't know. Anyway, there's a few different kinds of armadillos. One kind kind of look like your hungover uncle being eaten by a snake. Other kind have feet look like someone glued broken Barbie doll parts to his legs. Probably is good for sneak up on chickens. Sometimes they curl up into like a ball shape to like have special time. Maybe think about what they did. It looks hard to do, but it's pretty easy for me. I can teach you. Step 1, locate your butthole. Step 2, put your nose where you found your butthole. At this point, you are probably the most shape of ball you can be. Just remember, don't breathe. That's why the best favorite animal. Okay, bye.
Shape of ball you can be.
Today.
Yes, wait, where's Crappy Barbara? Where's the Crappy Barbara? Crappy Barbara.
It's Creepy Dave. Okay. Today is my favorite best animal called Crappy Barbara. As you can see, Crappy Barbas have a sort of monkey face. They don't have no nose, but they have scary eyes, like a demon. Sometimes Crappy Barbas stare into space. Maybe think about killing a chicken. I don't know. Oops. Creepy Dave make mistake. It's not a demon monkey, it's just second face of Crappy Barbie. But the world is dangerous. Many are made into Crappy Barbara lemon soup. Others must fight their worst enemies, the Bergs. Don't do it, Berg. Don't... Oh, he did it. Many hours later, we see the Berg eating the remains of the vanquished Crappy Barbara. It's sad. That's why it's best animal. Okay, bye.
Crappy Barbara.
That's Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Lionses is probably like my favorite animals. There is two kinds of lionses. One kind of look like a cat. The other one looked like someone dressed up like a cat. You know, like for a party.
Oh, fuck. I should probably end my stream. It's been a while. I should probably get to bed. I will. Oh, let me just. I'm gonna leave you this because Frank is fantastic, and he's got. I don't know, like you actually learn things from these because they're great. But I'm going to get this print going. I might start up the print stream, but this is what the print is going to look like. This is actually what it's going to look like here. Just like, oh yeah, shows you haven't seen these. I've been making these. Hold on. Let me put this out of the way. They are, hold on if I have these right. Nope, I do not. Yes, they're multi-part, like wall art prints. And they're super colorful, and I really like them. And then they all, basically what they're going to be is it's going to be these are, they got magnets on the back, and then there's a base plate that I have put somewhere. But the new one is done printing, so I'll go get it. You know, the base plate doesn't matter, but I have these printed too. Like these are super fucking sick. And the idea is that they're all just gonna be, I mean, these ones are really thin. But these ones are nice and thick because they have to actually go on the tiles. But yeah, it's a multi-part tile. They all go together. I could definitely do some frog ones though. When I set up the Etsy page, it's gonna be probably it's gonna be set up where the individual ones that I make, so people can buy, like, oh, if they like this one, they can order that one again, because that just makes my life easier. If they want to order ones that I've already completed and I have the files, I can just hit print again. In some cases, I might have to re-get or, you know, reacquire colors or retune them with new colors, just depending on what I have available. But the idea is they can have the wall, the mount pieces. You know, fuck, I will go grab one because it's done. So this will mount to the wall, one for each panel, with command hooks, so renter safe. It'll mount to the wall with command hooks, and then you can just have with magnets. It'll just clip on, so you can, whichever set you have at that moment, you can just attach super easily. And if you want to change the decor and you already have the panel, the mounts on the wall, you can just pop those three down. They stack super easily. Like you could store these on a bookshelf, no problem, because they're nice and thin still. Just slide them onto a bookshelf for later. Put your new ones up, and they're gonna have an optional function. That's what these little like hooky boys on the outside are for. You'll be able to get light modules, so LED rings that will snap over them. That will that'll let you basically like illuminate the wall around it. So it'll have a nice glow behind it if you want. That'll likely be powered over USB, unless it's a large setup, in which case it might have to be over a better USB. But I still want to have it be over USB-C, because you can just get like a power delivery USB-C charger and it'll work fine. Or if you already have one old one that you're not using. I know not everyone is me who just has chargers everywhere, but some are. And USB is just convenient. I could easily sell a starter kit to it. Because I don't think that's against Etsy. Because Etsy doesn't want you selling things that you could just buy. But if it's like a set with like, oh, it comes with the LED panels and then also with the charging starter kit,
with it would be like a powerful charger and a cable that's long enough and stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now, and I've been having a lot of fun with it because this is a system that I'm very excited to actually have work. I've already learned a lot because this is dead. These magnets, they're dead. They're done. Apparently if you heat magnets up with a soldering iron to push them into the plastic, they die. I knew magnets died in high temperatures. I did not know they died that fast. So we learned a thing. I need to find that other. Oh, there it is. Yeah, here's the other one. This is a previous version, but yeah. So the command hooks go on there like that, so they don't show around the outside at all. But there's enough room in there so you can grab them and pull them just like you would to remove a command hook from the wall. And the 3 on the back means that it's nice and strong and sturdy regardless of how it's mounted, because some will have you mount like this and some will have you mount like this, depending on if it's like a more vertically oriented image or a horizontally oriented image, because hexagons can be that way or that way, But yeah, I'm gonna end my stream and get that going. I'll probably fire up the printer stream just so if you want to watch that, you can watch that. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for these to be a thing that I have made and can sell, because I haven't seen anything quite like it, and I'm excited about it. To have an original product that people might enjoy. You too, Chelsea. Well, I don't know what fucking time it is for you. It could be the morning. I don't know. But have a good one either way.